So in this video I will be showing how to install Asterisk on your PC. So Asterisk is an open source framework for building communication applications having features such as voice, video and SMS. Right, so there are a number of ways of installing Asterisk. You can get the pre-built packages and install that, or you can install using the open source files. Right, if you want to install a pre-built application, you can download and install free PBX, or you can also install Asterisk now. But for the purpose of this video, we will be installing through the source code. You will find the source code at this link. Right, there are many versions, so we will install version 16. Alright, so you can right click and copy the link for this address, and then we will head over to our Ubuntu machine and install things over there. I have VMware installed on my Windows PC, and I've installed Ubuntu in the VMware. Now I already have Asterisk installed, but for you to get started, I will show the commands that you can use. So before you install Asterisk, we will need some other packages, so you will just copy and paste these commands in the terminal. I'll be leaving the commands in the video description, so you can get a copy from there. So once you copy the link address from this page, right, you will go to your Ubuntu machine and issue the sudo cal command, and with this URL. So this is going to download the zip file for the source code, and then you will extract the file. Then you will go inside the extracted file. So in my case, I have downloaded the source code in my downloads folder. I have unzipped it, and I'll go inside the folder, right, unzipped folder. Now I'll be issuing all the remaining commands from this place. So just to make sure that all the dependencies are resolved, you will issue this command, and then you will configure the files, then build the source code, and then install. Now you can also install the documentation optionally. Then there are some configs and other samples that you can install using these commands. Alright, so at this point your server is installed, and then you can restart the server. You can also enable the startup at the boot up. So if you want to start Asterisk every time your machine boots up, you can use this command. Alright, so now your server should be running. Just to verify that everything is running, you will issue this command, right, and you should get a message like this: active running. Now all the communication for the Asterisk server goes through either port 5060 or 5061. So just make sure that those ports are enabled in your firewall. And to bring up the Asterisk CLI, you will use this command. Right, in here you can check things about the server. If you connect later some soft phones or any other device, they will be shown here. So if I issue the command sip show ps, it is going to show all the ps of friends that are connected to my server. Right now I have 0 connected, so it is showing 0 ps. So once you have that installed, you are going to configure some files in your server. So I will exit this CLI, and then I will head over to the etc folder, and then go to the Asterisk folder. Now there are a lot of files in here. We have to edit some of the files to make it work with our scenario. So there's one file that we are going to edit, that's called sip.conf. Right, the file looks something like this. Right, there are a lot of things in here. So I'll not make any change to this file. I'll save this file with a different name, and then we'll create a new file with the same name and work with that, right? Just so that we don't lose our original file. So I'll move the file with some other name. Let's say sip.conf.default. Right, and now I'll create a file, sip.conf, and in here we need to change some things. So you will be adding some context in here. You will write square braces, and inside this you are going to write general. Now we will put some configurations over here. We'll say context equals, we can give some name, let's say dummy. Now every user will have a context. We'll come to context later. So every user is going to have a context, and that context is going to be triggered when the user calls the server, right? But in case if a user does not have any context, then we will direct that user to this context, right? So this is just a security feature. And then let's say we'll say allow guest equals yes. That means we will allow the guests to make call to the server. Disallow equals all. So there are many codecs used in the server. So we are going to allow or disallow all the codecs, and then we will allow only some. Let's allow this one, right? ulow or mulow. And you can have a read through the documentation of the server to have a more understanding of what they mean. You can go to asterisk.org, right? You will find a lot of features for the server, so you can have a read through the documentation and you will get more ideas about the commands. And there's another one you can use, it's VoIP info. Right, so these are the only change that we have to make to the sip.conf file for now. Now when we later add some soft phone to the server, we will add the configuration details for those soft phones to our server. So there are some soft phones that we are going to use in this demo. I already have some installed. I have Zoiper, MicroSIP and libphone. You can head over to Google and download those phones. There's libphone, MicroSIP, and the other one was Zoiper. So once you have the three phones installed, you will go back to the terminal and then configure the details about the three phones. So let's say one user is logged into the Zoiper phone, the other is using MicroSIP, and the third one is using libphone. The users can be using different devices. I have three different phones installed. So let's add the user Tom, and the type of this user is friend. Secret, this is the password that the user is going to use to log into the server. Host, this is the IP address of the user. So since the user can be using different devices or can be moving from one network to the other, the IP address will not be fixed. So we are going to say that the IP address is dynamic, and then qualify equals yes. So in here we will ask the server to periodically check if the user is reachable. Context equals, we'll give some name, let's say from internal. So this is a rule that will be followed when this user calls, right? And the rules we are going to define later in this context from internal. So in the similar way, we will add some more users. Okay, so I have added two more users to the file, that's Jerry and Bob. Their password and name is only different. The other details are same as Tom. Alright, so I'll save the file and exit. Now just to verify the contents of the file, I'll do cat sip.conf sip.conf. Right, so this is all that I have in my sip.conf file. Now once you make any change to the file, you need to restart the server. So you will say system ctl restart asterisk restart asterisk, and then you can go to the CLI for asterisk. Right, if I do sip show users, so we have 3 users here, that's Tom, Bob and Jerry. Right, I'll open up another window. We leave this here for the CLI. So now that we have the users added to our server, we will log into the 3 soft phones using one of the users. And before you log in, you need to make sure that your Windows machine and your Ubuntu machine are on the same network. So my Windows PC is on 192.168.0 network. The IP address is .101, and the IP address of my Ubuntu is 192.168.0.103. In case you don't have the two on the same network, then make sure that under the settings of your VM, in the network adapter, make sure that the connection is bridged so that both the machines can share the same network. Okay, so I'll open up Zoiper, and I will log into Zoiper as Tom. Tom was one of the users in our server. The IP address of the server is 192.168.0.103. So you will write username at the IP address. The password for Tom was Tom1234. Login, next, skip. Right, so it was connected on one of these ports, right, SIP UDP. Next, and we have logged in to Zoiper as Tom. Right, and when I go to the CLI, you will notice that there's a log here. It says Tom is now reachable. Clear screen. So now I will log into MicroSIP as the second user, which was Jerry. Add account. Account name is Jerry. Server is 192.168.0.103. There's no proxy. Username again is that's Jerry. Domain is the IP address of the server, 0.103, and password was Jerry1234. I'll set the display name for this soft phone as Jerry. Save. Right, and it says Jerry is now reachable. And in the similar way, you can also log into Lean phone, and then you can come back. But I won't be using the Lean phone in this video. We'll only go with Zoiper and MicroSIP. So you can leave it out if you wish. So now that our 3 phones are configured, but we still cannot call each other because there are no extensions configured for each phone. So we need to configure the extensions. So we will go to the extensions file and make some changes in there. Right, there are a number of things in here. Right, so once again I'll make a copy of this file just so that I don't make any changes to this if I need anything in future. Right, so I'll move this file with the default name. Right, and then I'll create a file called extensions.conf. In our sip.conf file, we defined the context called from external. So in here we will write some rules for those that context. The context name was from internal, right? And in here we're going to say that there's an extension for Tom, and let's give the extension as 5000. Second parameter is priority, right? You can again have a look at the parameters on the documentation page. So we are going to say that when a call comes to this extension of 5000, we are going to dial Tom, and we will have SIP here because this is a protocol that we are going to use. And let's say we'll dial for 10 seconds. If Tom doesn't pick up the phone, then we will hang up, right? And likewise for the other two phones, right? So save the file and exit. Alright, so we have 3 or 4 lines in our extensions.conf file. So once again you need to restart the server. So I'll open the MicroSIP and I will try to dial 5001. Right, so it says there's an incoming call to Jerry that's in MicroSIP. Right, so after 10 seconds it hanged up. So likewise from Zoiper I can also call 5001, that's for Jerry. Okay, we'll wait for 10 seconds. Right, and then after 10 seconds it hangs up. I'll call once again and receive this time. Hello. Right, so you can hear the sound in MicroSIP. End call. Right, so we were able to connect the soft phones to the server and call each other. You can also try with libphone if you have installed libphone. So now we will have a look at how we can write some custom code to interact with the server, because right now we have used the pre-built soft phones such as MicroSIP and Zoiper. But if you want to build something similar of your own, then you need a SIP client library that can talk to the server. There are a number of libraries available for different languages. You can choose the one that you like. I'll go with Java, right? There's one library available for Java that's called Mizutech, right? So what you need to do is download the library. It's called JVoIP, and in your favorite editor you will need to include that library. So I have included the JVoIP library in my IDE in my project. And before we start any programming, we need to first create a user for our custom app, right? Because this is also a user for the server. So just as we have added the other users, we will also add the code to our server. So I'll again open the sip.conf file. Right, I need to make some more changes over here. So under my the general section, I'm going to add call event equals yes, notify hold equals yes, and call counter equals yes. Again, you can have a look at the documentation to get more idea about what these commands are doing, and then save. Then in the extensions file, we will add the extension for this code. There's a syntax error over here, so this will be a equals. Right, so we will say extension, and the extension for our custom code, our Java application that we are making is, let's say, 5003 1, and if there's a call coming to 5003, then we are going to dial, let's give the name as app 10, and we also need to add this app to our sip.conf file. Right, once again I'll open the sip.conf file, and just as the other users, I will also add our app. So let's give the name as app. Make sure this matches the name in the extensions file. So we will say type is friend, secret equals app1234, host equals dynamic, qualify equals yes, and context is from internal. Alright, save and exit and restart the server. Right, so when I go to the CLI for Asterisk, right, you will see that we have 4 users now. One is our app. So going back to the Java application, make sure to import the web phone from the JVoIP library. Then create an instance of the phone, and then just as we logged into our other 2 phones, we also need to log in to the server using our app. So using this parameter function, we are going to specify different parameters that we are going to use to log in. So the server address, that's 101, this is the IP address of the machine on which our code is running. The name was app that we configured on the server. Right, password is 1234, app1234. We'll set the log level to 1, and then we are going to register the phone, and I have some logic in here to simulate the call. So we will enter 1, and when we enter 1 into the console, then the server is going to make a call to this extension, that's 5001, and that was for MicroSIP, I guess, right? And then when we enter 2, then we are going to hang up. So I'll run this code. Okay, so it says ready to make call, and when I enter 1, right, we will see that the phone is ringing. Right, and then I'll close them up. Alright, so this is just a simple example of how you can write your custom code to interact with the server and make your own app, right? Just like Zoiper and MicroSIP. Okay, so that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.